T410 by Lenovo or IBM. This is the fan that typically has a problem, and to replace it you need to start by having your system shut down, turned off, because you're going to remove the battery and all power cords. There's a couple screws on the back that you need to take out. The fan resides right about in this area, so magnetized screwdriver allows you to take out 3 screws down this edge near the fan. They go up into the palm rest, so they will allow you to remove the palm rest. There's 2 screws in the battery compartment that you need to remove. And that's it for screws on the bottom that need to be removed. Except for, to release the keyboard, you need 2 screws out, which is the memory compartment screw and then the keyboard screw, both of which hold the keyboard in. Keep them organized somehow. Now you can turn the system over, open up the top, and push the keyboard up and forward. It comes out, one little ribbon cable pops right off. Here's the fan and the heatsink assembly that you're going to be replacing. Note there's a single tube on the old bad one. There's a double tube on the good new one. A couple of screws to remove here, one on a little shield. Keep them separate if you can from the others. One for the palm rest, another one for the palm rest right here. They're 2 very small little screws. You'll see they're attached to plastic nibs on the palm rest. That allows the palm rest to be pulled up and removed. This is a very flexible piece, and you need 2 screws out of here that release the speaker. Again, those come out. The 4 screws that you've removed from the top so far are all the same size, so you don't have to worry about which goes where. The screws from the bottom, small screws go in the battery compartment, the larger screws go in through the bottom. Now you're able to remove this speaker, except for the speaker wire. That comes out, just hangs on the side. Now you have 4 screws for the heatsink. Out they come. Keep them separate because you'll have to put them back into the heatsink. The magnetized screwdriver really helps. If you don't have one, it'll take a lot more time. The power cord for the fan attaches right here. If you pull it out from the motherboard, it just comes out like that. Now you're totally released. If you pick up the edge of the heatsink with your screwdriver, it's easy to get to. And since this piece is dead, you don't even have to worry if it bends in here, and just put that aside. The new heatsink comes with a plastic cover for the thermal paste that's on here. You need to remove that, and I like to bring the wire underneath the heatsink. And all you do is you lift and place it in the back first, underneath the wires. Give it a little wiggle, give it a little push right here. It goes down. It's got to clear this wire and the heatsink and the palm rest, and you can see it's sitting down nicely. Now it's time to attach your wire. The little holes are to the wall of the computer, not towards the middle of the computer. And you just push that on. Now you can put your speaker back in. There's a little channel that the speaker wire needs to get into. Right here, you got to make sure that you don't leave that out of there, because if you do, it can pinch. Now you can take and put your tiny screws for the speaker back in. 2 screws. Important to put them both back in, because if you don't, you get it sealed up, you can't get to them. A little bend here to put the tab underneath the Lenovo logo, and seal along the back and seal along the edge. You're going to be replacing all the screws that you just took out. The fan shield, the heatsink screws, and the palm rest screws. So you get 2 palm rests, the shield, the 4 heatsink screws. Then it's time for the keyboard to go back in. Make sure you put the wire on, pulls up to the top. Sometimes it snaps in easy, sometimes you have to fight with it a little. Slide it in the top, push it in, pull it back towards yourself. Make sure it's seated nicely. Now it's time for the bottom screws to go back in. No particular order. Short screw for the keyboard. 3 big long screws for the side. Two under the battery. Try not to drop them like I just did. Battery slides back in, memory cover back on. You're done, and you'll have cleared the fan error.